All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. See if we see that it has BSS, aka boudoir search sameness, with these two Google searches here. So we're back here in the GPC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left. We got the highest 10 people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest 10 people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent people. These are, recent interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for a boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are the we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're going to dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so that's what we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link, and price shopping everyone, and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the kind of what a seller can get, and it's become super super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. The first deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs, and still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other seller, every other boudoir photographer in that market, because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is that's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about thinking if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some. And you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase, or actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief, and I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. The best part is it requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work. Constant checking, way too much maintenance for not enough outcome there. Next, we know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but 1 slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like the 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like a small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise, in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page one Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also, SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger and happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand, having a well-known massive brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page one Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all these the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page one, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere boudoir buyer looks, obviously our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand, and it actually speeds up the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And an initial benefit of this, and a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology is every new slot we take, page one of Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more, kicking more people off page one. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And boudoir and page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? It's the 3rd person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has 2 slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got 3. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of 3. And a boudoir photographer with the BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality. And we now have a solution, SQ'd methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS Boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my SQ'd methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page one, this is Google Organic page one, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot one, me. Slot two, me. Slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page one of Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one of Google, all by purely using SQ's methodology. So now we're going to look at this Boudoir photography business. I'm going to check. So all this is based on the Google page one searches here. So we got these two Google searches. Let's check these out. So first one, we got Boudoir photographer. Is that the first one? No, I think. Oh no, St. Augustine should be the first one. I got to do St. Augustine here. Boudoir photography, St. Augustine. St. Augustine. And there we go. All right. So let's see what we got here. Look for a supernova. There we go. So we got they got one slot. And all right, we got two slots here. Wedding wire. Yeah. We do not have BSS, so we got two slots here. That's fine. That's good. We perfect. Now we've not hit the GBC minimum. We want to have 3 out of 10 here, but hey, we do not have BSS for the search, so that's good. Now we want to hit the GBC 3 out of 10 minimum because that's kind of the only safe time we can say, hey, we're not going to disappear, we're not going to decline. We may not grow, but we'll probably at least tread water. So no BSS, but we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here. Now let's check our Jacksonville, Florida. All right, so still looking for the same supernova. So we got one. And nope. All right, none of these are specifically about us only. We got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for the second search at Jacksonville, Florida. Bigger city. So BSS is more common in the bigger cities, obviously, more keyword competition. So we do not have BSS for St. Augustine, Florida. That's good, but we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. But we do have BSS for the Jacksonville, Florida search, and we also did not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. All right, so if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local search or city search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you're saying you got either 0, 1 slots there, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google, and you've accepted that page one equality is a false belief. The false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. You're seeing that Google actually give us as many page one slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you're actually seeing that SQ methodology is the only way forward, the only solution for you that can fix this. And you've been waiting for something like this because the ads, Google PPC, give you a best 1 extra slot, but momentum dies once you stop spending. These do have some momentum that does continue, not infinitely, but these do have momentum. And you like initial benefits, more slots page one on Google. You really like the second initial benefit, kicking your competitors off page one on Google, relegating them to page 2, and effectively rendering them invisible to approximately 80% of boudoir buyers that are using Google search. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, more peeps getting new gear, more boudoir photographers enter the market, got it. But you're also looking ahead and seeing, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs right now. Last time that happened, COVID, big influx of boudoir photographers happened as a result of that in COVID. So realizing, oh man, actually a much bigger wave than before has come to boudoir photography, way more boudoir photographers. And you have decided that, man, you actually need to fortify your position on page one. You literally need to have so many links, backups to the backup links on Google that they can't rank all your links on page one. And they stay on like, page 2, 3, 4, because Google wants to put them on page one, but now there's no more room. And you basically need to fortify your page one position to essentially guarantee no current competitors rank on page one, and certainly no new competitors that come in from AI taking their jobs can rank on page one. So you're seeing all that, and fortifying, kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is below sea level. And you're saying SQ methodology is also the only solution for boudoir photographers that can do that. And you want to achieve page one visibility to become a visible boudoir photographer and achieve boudoir search visibility because you understand you need to acquire these things, do all these things on your path to becoming the number one boudoir photographer in your city. You also like the future benefits of utilizing SQ methodology now, which we've not talked about yet, but every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we are essentially creating these invisible thematic keyword columns that, plug into our brand, our name, our website, associated with it, kind of out there in cyberspace, digital space, that actually means backend AI mindshare. We increase our backend AI mindshare for all these terms based on frequency, repetition, authority, age, relevance. And every single day we do this, it increases the probability we actually will get recommended for AI overview. So we're kind of building these thematic keyword clusters, invisible thematic keyword columns all around associated with our brand, our handles, everything about us. And AI can parse this. So we increase the probability of this, we increase the probability. We also show up AI search, standard AI search, which is, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Increase the probability we are showing up in all these searches as an, when people use their AI search. And yeah, Google's approximately 90% of global search, but dude, AI search is increasing every single day. And when I last did an AI search searching for boudoir photographers, I searched the city. ChatGPT gave me only 3. So I actually went and looked manually for, basically on Google and on Facebook, how many there are out there, and there's like 60. So it's like, man, we need every possible way to get recommended AI search if there's only 3 slots. And your CNSQ methodology is the only solution that can give you the best, that can allow you to do that. And you understand that my current plan is to work with only one boudoir photographer per city. So what you've realized is you decide to become the first mover in your city, get that first mover advantage, kick out all your other boudoir photographer competitors, prevent them from using the strategy. You get all the benefits, more slots page one, more people kicked off page one to page two, effectively making them visible to approximately 80% of the market. Higher chance of fortifying your position on page one, so nobody can ever rank on page one besides you. Higher chance recommended AI search, higher chance recommended standard or recommended AI overview and recommended standard AI search. Approximately 8x faster in building a large, well-known brand because you'll be seen across so many different surfaces. And building up a massive gap, kind of AI back-end AI mindshare momentum gap between your competitors in your city with all of these, invisible thematic keyword columns attached to your brand. And you understand the converse. If another boudoir photographer hopped on this, decided to go with me first, they would get all those benefits. You would actually be forced off page 2 and potentially you'd be forced off page 1, potentially also forced off page 2, and page 3 and deeper. Man, there's definitely basically no one going that deep. And you'd be losing that AI mindshare. Your competitor would be recommended again, above and against you instead of you. You would be losing those slots, losing all that mindshare in the marketplace. And more boudoir photographers are entering every day, so you'd actually be worse and worse for you every single day. And this means your competitor would be growing our gap between you every single day. You'd have to actually go rederive, or actually drive for the first time S-cube methodology for yourself. And then you would have to go execute it, equal amount of execution as us every single day. And then once that happens, you're simply maintaining the gap that me and your competitor would have already built up against relative to you. So you're just maintaining the gap. So you'd have to actually outwork us 2 or 3x every single day to actually start to get some of your links on page one and go pull that back end AI mindshare back towards your brand for all these invisible thematic keyword columns. But during all this, you're still not even 100% confident you've derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place. So probably wouldn't be putting into it a 3x our effort into it, doing it yourself. And the second thing is, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this? So after hearing all that, you're like, screw that. I'm definitely being the first mover and adopter in my city, blocking out everyone else from using this. And as a result, we are, so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed because the hospital is currently closed to new patient intake. And then when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot us a DM then, and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-Cubes methodology.